Hi, and welcome to the Art of Film Funding. I'm your co-host, Claire Papin, along with writer-producer Carol Dean, author of the best-selling book, The Art of Film Funding, and host of this show. Carol is the president of From the Heart Productions, a nonprofit organization that has supported filmmakers with the Roy W. Dean Grant, fiscal sponsorship, education, and resources for over 30 years. Carol also teaches the Learn Producing class. Each class features an industry expert guest instructor and is designed to give the information, guidance, and support to become a successful producer. You can learn more about this class and all of From the Heart Productions offerings at FromTheHeartProductions.com.
What if your film isn't just a story, but a valuable asset that brands are actively looking for?
Hello, I'm Claire Papin, co-producer with Carol Dean, president of From the Heart Productions. We're so glad you could join us for the Art of Film Funding podcast, where we explore both the creative and practical paths to making your films. Today's conversation is especially important for filmmakers navigating a rapidly changing industry. Traditional funding is becoming more uncertain. Distribution models are shifting, and filmmakers are being asked to think beyond the old systems. In this episode, we're diving into one of the most powerful opportunities emerging right now: branded content. What if your film could be funded not by waiting for a studio or investor, but by aligning your story with a brand that shares your message and your audience? What if branding wasn't a compromise, but a creative partnership? Our guest, Johann Garcia, founder of BrandedStreams, is at the forefront of this movement. He works with filmmakers and creators to help them understand how to position their projects as valuable storytelling opportunities for brands, opening new doors for financing, marketing, and distribution. If you've ever wondered how to fund your film in today's landscape, if you've struggled with raising money or reaching your audience, or if you're ready to think differently about your career as a filmmaker, this episode will give you both insight and practical direction. Because the future of filmmaking is not just about creating stories. It's about connecting them to the world in new and meaningful ways. Let's begin. Our special guest, Johann Garcia, is the founder of BrandedStreams, a platform and strategy company focused on helping filmmakers and content creators finance, produce, and distribute projects through brand partnerships and integrated storytelling. With a background at the intersection of media, marketing, and digital distribution, Johann specializes in connecting filmmakers with brands in a way that aligns creative vision with commercial opportunity. His work explores how branded content can serve as both a funding model and a distribution pathway, allowing filmmakers to bypass traditional gatekeepers while building sustainable, audience-driven careers. Johann is particularly focused on helping independent creators understand how to position their projects as valuable storytelling assets for brands, rather than simply seeking sponsorship. Transforming the filmmaker into a strategic partner in today's evolving content ecosystem. And Carol, I think your branding film is important for all filmmakers, right?
Yes, because we need to know all we can about branding, and we thank you, Johann, for joining us.
Nice to be here, Claire and Carol. Thanks very much for having me.
Certainly. What we're going to do is get into the big picture. What is branded content today? So, for filmmakers who are new to this concept, how do you define branded content and how is it different from traditional film financing or sponsorship?
Think of it this way. Traditional sponsorship puts a logo on something, while branded content puts a brand inside the story. Traditional filmmaking means giving up equity or creative control. You take investor money and they want a say. Old school sponsorship is a logo on a poster or a credit at the end. Branded content is different. It is it's a it's when a product or a brand actually live inside the world of the film. A character uses it, mentions it, makes a decision because of it. It feels real because it is real. The brand isn't interrupting the story, it's part of it. That's the decision we built at Branded Streams around.
So, so you might have a computer and because let's say it's a filmmaker, they're doing a documentary and they need to buy the content of the documentary. The one we're following decides to buy that they need a computer, so they would then buy the computer that is the brand you want to because it would be a necessary thing in the film, correct?
Yes, some brands actually even provide the computer for you. If they like the documentary well enough, they'll send you the computer. You could use it and then you just send it back.
All right. So that could be Dell or some, mostly I would think American manufactured items would be really special for content.
Yes, exactly. And Dell does do that type of in-kind product placement, you might call.
Great. So it's a matter of having a very good ask and contacting them.
Yes, exactly. Having the right package, you might say.
The right package. Okay. So why are brands becoming such a powerful force in content creation right now? And what are they looking for that filmmakers can provide?
Well, ad skipping changed everything. Audiences are skipping pre-rolls, fast-forwarding through commercials, using ad-free tiers. Traditional advertising is getting harder to land. Meanwhile, when a character on screen picks up a brand, you can't skip that. You're emotionally engaged in the story, and the brand rides that engagement with you. Brands have figured this out. They want to be they want to be in the story, not between the stories. And with streaming exploding and more content being made more than ever, the inventory of placement opportunities is massive. The timing isn't couldn't be any better.
Okay. Well, the point that people have to understand is you don't just put a brand in your film. You have to have someone to help you get the approval to do that, right?
Yes, you do.
Every manufacturer has an approval process. And I've read that most of the time they want to read your script to see how you're positioning the product and what is the content of your script. So, because they spent millions probably marketing their product and they want it to have a special place in people's hearts. So, they first want to make sure how you're showing their brand and what the rest of the content is, right?
You're absolutely right, Carol. The one thing that we've found is that when the brand does want to sponsor your film project, they want to read your script. They want to make sure that it's exactly the product, the story that they want to be part of.
They want to be part of that story, right? Good.
Yes.
Okay. So, opportunities for filmmakers are abound here. Do you see branded content as a replacement for traditional financing, or is it a complementary strategy?
It's complementary, but it can fill the gaps that traditional financing never could. So I found that there's 10 different ways to fund a film project. There's private equity, there's co-production, there's pre-sales, there's debt financing, there's tax incentives and rebates, there's crowdfunding, there's grants and film funds, there's studio financing, and even more the most popular is self-financing. And Product placement is actually, just one of the 10, right? I wouldn't tell a filmmaker to abandon their grant applications or equity rounds, but branded content is non-dilutive. You're not giving up a piece of your film. You're monetizing the moments that already exist in your script. When a character drinks coffee in scene 4, that's already there. If we can match the right copy brand in that moment, the filmmaker gets funding and keeps full ownership. So it complements everything else. And for indie filmmakers who struggle to access traditional money, it's often the only bridge they have.
Well, are you working mostly with documentaries or features?
I'm mainly working with features and documentaries for both. So any filmmaker that has either a feature or documentary, we're all there. We're all in.
Hmm, that's great to know because documentaries sometimes don't have anyone to help them with branding. So this is good to know that you're available. So what you do work with the independent documentary filmmaker, right?
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. We work with feature films, shorts, documentaries, television shows, TV series, and now more than ever, vertical content.
Vertical. Oh, that's going crazy. So you're helping them? Oh my gosh, that should be good money for vertical.
Yes, and it's a lot lower price point than trying to get into a feature. And at the same time, you actually can get exposure faster if a brand decides to sponsor you. The brand can get exposure faster because features, when you basically sponsor a feature, it takes at least a year or two before a feature could release. While verticals, it could release within 6 months.
Within 6 months, yes, they're going to see eyeballs, eyes on the prize quicker.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. And I was talking to a woman who works in the vertical industry. She's a creator. And she says that 50 million views is low. Can you imagine? So for a branding company or for a product, that's incredible, the number of views that they would get in a vertical product.
Yeah, it really depends on the platform, but yes, 50 million views is low.
So it's hard for us to get our heads around. Okay. Well, let me ask you, what kind of film projects are the most attractive to the brands right now?
Stories with real people doing real things. So brands love authenticity. Documentaries are huge right now, but because they're credible. A product in a documentary doesn't feel like an ad, it feels like an endorsement. Narrative features with grounded contemporary settings also work very well. Everyday life scenes, family moments, urban environments. Short form vertical content, like I just mentioned, is exploding for younger demographics. Music videos still drive massive placement, revenue for fashion and beverage brands. The format matters less than the story feeling real and the audience being clearly defined.
Wonderful. Well, what's the biggest misconception that filmmakers have when approaching brands for funding?
They think that they need a finished film. They really don't. Most filmmakers wait until they have a cut, or worse, until they're at a festival, and then they try to backfill brand deals. By then, it's too late to make natural placements. The real opportunity is at the script stage. A brand can influence what's on screen in a way that's authentic to the story before the production locks everything in. The other misconception is that brands want to control the narrative and the creative. The brands we work with don't want to rewrite your script. They want to be in the story, and that already makes sense to them.
Right. They just want to make sure this is a story they want to be in. That's it.
Exactly. Exactly.
You pass that test, then it's probably a very easy sell.
Yes, we hope so. We believe it is.
And so your job is people hire you, and then what do you read the script and say, here are the places I find you can use brands?
So we do both. We actually read the script ourselves, but we also what we do is we built an AI, a proprietary AI technology where we have the AI read the script as well, and and we can extract product placement opportunities in every single scene.
Wow, this is marvelous. Okay, well, tell us how people find you, Johann.
So you can go to my website, it's brandedstreams.com, and you could basically click onto the contact us page and reach out to us, and then we'll get back to you ASAP.
Okay, perfect. So Let's talk about how filmmakers can position themselves. So, how should a filmmaker begin thinking differently if they want to attract brand partnerships?
Good question. So start seeing your script as an inventory of moments. Every scene has objects, locations, behaviors. That's all potential placement inventory. A filmmaker who wants to attract brands needs to look at their story and ask, what brands naturally live in this world? Who are my characters and what do they consume? What locations are they in? When you start seeing your story that way, you start speaking a language brands understand. You're not selling out, you're monetizing authenticity that was already baked in.
Wow. So, what does a filmmaker need to show a brand beyond just a good story? Are they looking at what's your audience? They want to understand the total message, or what is the reach, or what else are
So
they looking?
yeah, three things. They actually look for audience, alignment, and authenticity. So with audience, who's watching it, and and does it match the brand's customer? For alignment, does the world of the film feel right for the brand's identity and authenticity? Does the placement feel earned or forced? Brands also increasingly care about brand safety. They want to know is there anything in the film that could embarrass us? At BrandedStreams, we actually pre-screen content for brand fit and brand safety before we even reach out to the brand. That matters to brands the most, brand safety.
Yes. And you make sure that the script has that in it before you send it out. That's great. I remember Lily Tomlin was doing a film and she walked in from the store with a big Trader Joe's bag, set it on the table right in front of the camera. So it was a great branding moment for Trader Joe's. And it
Yes.
what'd you get at the store? Oh, I got this and that. She started taking things out of the sack, and it was natural uh, and it was fun to think, oh, she's shopping at Trader Joe's because she really fit that type of person that loves to shop there.
Yeah, and that's where authenticity comes in.
Oh, yeah, because we believed it. It felt right. Well, tell me, do you have a success story you could share with us? Somebody that came to you for help and you were able to find them money and branding.
Yeah, I actually do. So, like one situation where I had an independent film project that we worked on, the filmmakers was out in Texas, and they had a really interesting film project that dealt with some A-list actors, and we were able to get them so in that film project the actor was driving a vintage automobile, but because of the brand, when reached out to the brands, we reached out to all automobile manufacturers that had sports cars, and we got a brand that was interested in being part of the film project, and we got that brand. Actually, we actually got the current model brand instead of the vintage car into the film project, so the character is now driving a new automobile instead of an old one, and so
Oh,
we made that work.
yes, that's wonderful. So, and do they sometimes, these brands, do they give you money or is it just product?
They, both. So in this situation, they actually gave money to the film project. So the interesting thing is that Branded Streams does not take any kind of upfront cost to the filmmaker. We understand that independent filmmakers don't have the resources or the bandwidth to look for brands and products and to pay us to do that. What we do is we take a certain percentage off of any brand dollars we get you. So we take the percentage off of the brand dollars. The brand sends well, actually sent two vehicles to the film location, one stunt vehicle and one display vehicle, and they paid for that transport, and they also paid for the opportunity to be placed in four scenes in the film project.
Wonderful. Oh, this is great. I know filmmakers be happy to hear this. So now the pitch, turning the story into value. So what does a successful branded content pitch look like today, and what elements must you include?
So it's a package. It's not a conversation. A strong pitch has a script overview, a log line, a synopsis, the tone, the genre, a clear demographic breakdown. Who is this for, and why will they care? a map of a specific placement opportunities, what we call PPOs or product placement opportunities, categorized by type. So when we take a look at the film project, we could scan it by visual, verbal, plot, location, and ambient product placement. And then providing a pricing framework, brands are used to buying media in standardized ad units. So when you show up with a structured, professionalized offer, you're speaking their language. That's what BrandedStreams is all has been built. We're trying to standardize product placement in films, and then when the filmmaker shows up when they're ready, the brands are really impressed.
Okay, because before they were advertising in magazines and newspapers where the content was mirrored. They knew how many eyes they had on the prize because they could add up the distribution, the number of people reading that magazine or newspaper. So you have to really be able to give them an idea of the number of views, right? That
Yes,
this
exactly. Well, so at least you could tell them. I understand that there's not a lot of meaningful ways or accurate ways to count feature films that go out in theatrical or global release, but at least you could tell them the number of theaters or what the distribution type.
Oh, you go to distribution, say we're doing vertical screenings, community screenings, schools and colleges, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So like for vertical content, you could go you give the brand the understanding of which vertical content platform you're going to go on. Are you going to go into Real Short or in Good Shorts or in Candy Jar? So there's a lot of film production applicate sorry film film app vertical film apps today that you could basically distribute your film project.
Okay, I got it. So you really have to, they know when you say which one it's going on, they know the content and how many eyes are going to see it.
Yes, most of the time, a lot of the vertical streaming apps, they provide some of the average users, and then based on that, you could determine the audience count.
Great. So let's talk about distribution and revenue. So how does branded content change the distribution model for filmmakers? Are brands becoming the new distributors?
Well, not exactly, but they're becoming new financiers with distribution interest. What we're seeing brands fund content specifically to own distribution rights or control where it's placed. Think brand studios like Red Bull Media House. For indie filmmakers, it's more nuanced. A brand partnership doesn't replace Netflix or a distributor, but it can fund production in a way that gives the film the production quality to attract distribution. And some brands actively want to film the film to reach certain platforms because that's where their audience is. So there's an emerging alignment there.
So the brand might tell you where to screen it.
Yes, and in some senses too, some brands are open to releasing it on if it's a vertical, putting it on to their social media and on their channels or their distribution network. So,
Got it.
it really depends.
But the brands are helping you. The brands would only expand your distribution.
That's why it's such a right time right now for branded content because brands are actually getting into the fold and are really helping that.
Wow, this is wonderful. So, um, where do you see branded storytelling going in the next 3 to 5 years, especially now with AI changing our viewing habits?
I believe it's going to go in programmatic. So programmatic to us is like the holy grail where you can basically, programmatic AI matched and much bigger than it is today in the next 3 to 5 years. The product placement market is a $36 billion opportunity globally. Right
What?
now, it's mostly transacted manually, relationship by relationship, with
Yes.
major brand studios and major brand deals. Oh, sorry, major film studios. So we're trying to open that space up. We're building an infrastructure to change that. AI that reads scripts and services placement opportunities at scale, standardized ad units that brands can buy like they buy display ads today, and measurement that closes the loop after the film releases. In 3 to 5 years, I think we'll see brand integration become a line item in every indie filmmaker's budget, not just an afterthought, but a primary funding source structured from day one.
Fabulous, fabulous. Okay, if you could give independent filmmakers one piece of advice about working with brands, what would that be?
Lead the story, not the ask. Don't walk into a brand conversation saying, "I would need your money to for my film." Walk in saying, I have a story that puts your product in front of the exact people you want to reach in a moment that will make them feel something. Brands don't fund films; they invest in audiences and emotion. When you flip the framing, everything changes. You're not asking for a favor; you're offering something valuable.
Offering something valuable. That's great. But do you help them? Do you go into and make that pitch yourself, or do you send them, help them get to where they make the pitch?
We help them get to a point where they make the pitch. We walk in there with them, we take the notes, we generate the offer agreement that the brand and the filmmaker signs up for.
Great. Okay, so how can filmmakers begin today, and what is one simple first step they can take to move towards brand partnerships?
Really, it's just reading your script like a brand would. Go through your script and highlight every product, location, piece of clothing, technology, or food that appears. That list is your placement inventory. Then ask yourself, what real brands live in that space, and do their consume customers look like my audience? That exercise, which costs you nothing, is the foundation of everything. Once you see your story as inventory, you're ready. That's where BrandedStreams starts, and that's where we could help you with. We could help any filmmaker.
My gosh, thank you so much, Johann. This is terrific information. And I think nowadays, with funding being cut so much, this is like opening a new door to a whole new world out there, right?
Yeah, we believe so. We believe so. We're really trying to help up and coming filmmakers get their stories told. And because of this, with branded content and brand sponsors going into trying to fund film projects, trying to be part of the story, it really helps.
Well, tell us again how to find you.
Go to brandedstreams.com, www.brandedstreams.com, and you can find us.
Okay, great. I really thank you for joining us today. And what I hope you all take from the conversation is that there are more ways than ever to fund your film, but they require you to think differently. You're not just a filmmaker, you are a creator of value, a storyteller with the ability to connect ideas, audiences, and opportunities. Branding your film is not about giving something up, it's about expanding what is possible. And when you understand how to align your story with the right partners, when you learn how to communicate the value of what you're creating, then you step into a new level of independence. You no longer wait, you start to build. And so I want to encourage you to trust that ability within yourself because you have everything you need to move forward, to raise the funding, to find your audience, to create a film that matters. Take one step today. Move your film forward. Reach out, start the conversation, and share your vision because your film is not just a project. It's a bridge between you and the people who are meant to experience it. And when you believe in that, others will too. So I'm Carol Dean. This is the Art of Film Funding. Keep creating, keep connecting, and keep moving forward. Thank you. Thank you, Claire, for your kindness and Johann for your information.
Thanks, Carol.
Now, in its second edition, Carol Dean's popular book, The Art of Film Funding, has 12 new chapters to cover all areas of film financing and how to avoid expensive pitfalls. Learn how to start with an idea and end with a trailer, how to make an ask for money, create your story structure and your trailer, legal advice, fair use, successful crowdfunding, how to ask for music rights, and what insurance you can't shoot without. Available on Amazon under Carol Dean and at FromTheHeartProductions.com.
I want to remind our listeners that David Raiklin is a brilliant and talented award-winning musician who scores films and can compose music for a trio or for a full orchestra. David is a very good friend to the independent filmmaker and comes highly recommended by From the Heart Productions. If you need music to help tell your story, please contact him at davidraiklin.com. That's David, RAIKLEN.com. And Carol and I want to thank you for tuning in to The Art of Film Funding. Please visit our website at FromTheHeartProductions.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Good luck with your films, everyone.